What's up, everybody? Jensen Cummings here. Thank you for tuning in. As always, we have Matt Jozwiak, who is the CEO and founder of Rethink Food in New York City. On, I love the shirt, Matt. Appreciate you being on.
What's up, man?
You're
Thanks for having me.
you're representing for your city and your state well right now. So we like to get a little bit of kind of the punchline of exactly what your organization is, and then we go back in time and kind of get that human story. But give us that. Give us what is Rethink Food specifically.
Rethink Food is a nonprofit organization in Brooklyn, New York. What we do is essentially try to get capital to restaurants that in low-income areas and some big ones in the city, and have them make meals for people who need.
Perfect. Nailed it. That sounds like exactly what we need right now. But you started in 2018, the organization. So you've been doing this work that a lot of people are sprouting up and starting to galvanize around for quite a while. So clearly you were thinking ahead. And man, is that important, because we're going to talk about some of the numbers, and man, is that important. So, but take us back for you. You know, you came up, made your bones in the kitchens. Take us back to when hospitality, when becoming a chef became kind of a reality for you.
Yeah, man. So like like I grew up in kind of like white picket fence neighborhood, style. And then when my parents split up, it was kind of hard on us a little bit. And so when I got to college, I, picked up a couple jobs, and one of them was washing dishes. And I was like, I'm not really very good at school. I've never been very good at school. I'm not really a school guy. So I was like, well, like I like this. I like the environment. People are pretty nice. It's fun. I get to play with knives and fire, and you know, wear this cool jacket, and like I just started to enjoy it. So like I moved up from a dishwasher to a prep cook, and then ended up moving to Chicago in 2006, and then worked there till '08. Just garmage, prep cook, pastry, nothing fancy. And then when '08 hit, I couldn't find a job, so I moved back to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is where I grew up, and just kind of slept on my mom's couch for a part of it, and just like worked at the Capitol Grill, and just worked and saved money. And then I moved to France, and I lived in the south of France and worked at a little restaurant there. Lived in Lyon, worked at one classic French restaurant there, and my visa went up. Was working at the Auberge de Lille illegally, and then I went to Noma for a couple of months on a visitor visa. And then once I had like completely exhausted all possible ways to work in Europe, I went back to the States, and hung out with and went back and started working at Alinea. And when I realized that, like, in France, people were really nice to me. They were like really amazing, and they brought me into their homes, and played card games, and we went to soccer games, and like just like super cool. And I got back to Alinea, and this was a very different time. Obviously, this was like 9-10 years ago. Alinea was like really aggressive, and I was like, this is my hometown. Like, this is my home area, my region. This is Chicago. I'm from like 90 miles north of this, and I left because I was like, I just don't want to be a part of like. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't want to be part of the yelling, the mean stuff, like all that jazz. So I decided to start looking into management jobs, and then eventually got introduced to some philanthropy work. And my friend Harold was starting something in New York, and he was asking me to come out and help. And I was like, well, whatever, fuck it, like let's just do it.
Yeah.
And so I saved a bunch of money. I moved to New York. I started doing that, and then he wanted to take it for profit. And I just really believe in the nonprofit. I think that like it's totally misunderstood. People think it's like grandma's charity handing out baskets. Like, no, it's a vicious vehicle that you can use to do a lot of really, really cool stuff.
Yep.
And you can still like make money. Like, it's not the end of, like you still get paid. Like, everybody still gets paid. And so anyway, we kind of broke up, went to work at 11 Madison Park because I didn't really know what else to do with myself at the time. And then realized, well, all right, I'm just going to do it myself. And instead of trying to do something that's like super ambiguous, like, or unsolvable, like let's teach everybody how to make food, that like a never ending kind of problem.
Yeah.
I was like, let's just like, I want to do something really, really, really simple. So me and my friend Winston, you know, who's the co-founder of Rethink, he came on a little later, and he said, you know, like I said, like, let's just take the excess food, make stuff that's super delicious, and give it away for free. Like, everybody knows there's a lot of food waste, and big problem. So what's the most practical, logical, simple thing that we can do to like help people? It's not the most glamorous job, you know, like driving around at night in trucks and picking it up and sorting through it and making sure all the time and temperature controls are right. Like, it's not glamorous at all, but it's what needed to be done. So we just did that.
So this is funny. You say you went to 11 Madison Park because you didn't know what else to do. Like going to the #1 restaurant in America, that at one point #1 rated restaurant in the world on the top 50, because you didn't know what else to do. Yet I think I'm very fascinated in this. First of all, it just speaks to your chops. You're just like, I'm just going to go to one of the top restaurants in the world because why not? But also I'm interested because I think, you know, time at Alinea, time in France definitely was formative. That was good to know because I didn't know about that part. And then 11 Madison Park, you just saw a lot of the machine and the way that the machine works, in the way that it sometimes churns through human beings, but it also churns through food and food waste. So connect those dots for us, because it seemed like you said, you know what, I appreciate the opportunities, but I also see an opportunity for something different. And maybe the transition going from 11 Madison Park and then saying, no, you know what, now is time for me to take on this new challenge, and understanding it from a chef and a restaurant perspective. Give us a little insight there.
Really, really, really. Right. Do what was right. Will Goddard at the time always wanted to do what was right. There, and then
Oh, we lost him. All right, well, let's see if he pops back on. So the reason that I asked him that question, and I'll just ad lib here for a moment. The reason that I asked him that question is because, hold on, it's coming back on. Got the wheel of death here, people. All right, I'll keep talking until he does come all the way back on. So the reason that I asked that question is, having worked in restaurants for a couple decades myself, and just seeing the amount of effort that goes into the perfection of a dish, the cut on a single thing. We are so focused on the end product that sometimes the process to get that product to the plate is so counter to feeding people with the most amount of food, the least amount of food waste, of utilizing every little bit, is so often not the focus. Sometimes it's the cute little thing that you can do, or maybe it happens to be a byproduct, yet it's not the focal point of the effort that we're putting in. And so that's why I asked that question. Having worked for Matt at Alinea and 11 Madison Park, again, both at times rated the #1 restaurant, 3 Michelin stars. You know, each of them is one of 14 3 Michelin star restaurants in the United States. The expectation of perfection in every single element of every single dish is so high. Got you back there, Matt? I can see you.
Got me. Yeah, dude. Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
It's the fucking robots,
Can you
man.
hear me?
What are you gonna do?
You hear me all right, though, right?
Yeah, I can hear your video's clipping a little
Yes,
bit, man, but we're going to work through it. We figure shit out. That's what we do in the kitchen. That's what we do on this show. That's the way it is. So you were talking about the importance, and I kind of lost you after you were talking about Will and kind of the commitment that he had. So kind of take us further down that thread as far as, you know, connecting the dots between food waste that you saw at the high level of restaurants where the perfection of every cut was so important, not necessarily the yield on the product being the most important, and the opportunities that you saw to kind of create an organization that is fueled by the waste in an industry that you came up in.
Yeah. I just found that like nobody really enjoys throwing away food, you know, like everybody I talk to, like they want to do something. Everybody wants to do something. It's just like, it's a logistical problem. So we just started, the chair of the board, Julian Baker, I met him and we just started putting it together and building it out, you know, but the issue I had is that I didn't have any money because I was a cook. So I went and I like private chefed for a really famous person for about a year and a half. And then I saved all my money and I started Rethink. And then I met this other individual through the private chef world, Julian, who really helped me take it to the next level. Winston got really engaged. We found a space. We just started doing it. And everybody was, you know, pretty excited to use the service. It was free, so it wasn't really that hard, you know? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it really worked out.
All right, so take us through some of the practical. Now that we have an understanding of you, your history, the why, the importance of starting an organization like this, let's talk about some of the practical. Give us some of the macro numbers so we can just kind of set the tone for people because they're big. And then let's talk about day in and day out, what the kitchens look like, what driving around the middle of the night, what the truck looks like. But let's start with the numbers. Give us some hard numbers on the amount of meals that you've served, where you're serving them, some of that.
Yeah, we've done a little over a million meals. You know, we're in the Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn. We are in Nashville. We've done some work in Chicago, and then we're really going to start opening up a lot in Oakland.
Okay, good.
And yeah, so like we're pushing, man, and like that's all since we really started operations like September of 2018. So it's been pretty wild.
That's a lot of meals over a short period of time for sure. Talk about today then. How many meals are you producing in a given day, in a given week?
Yeah, I mean, some weeks we do like 70,000. The most we do is like 110,000.
Those numbers are just astronomical. When most of the restaurants I've worked in, you do like 200 to 300 covers, you're getting your face kicked in. Talking about those type of numbers are just massive. So I'm interested then, let's go through. Is there a centralized kitchen, right? That food is being kind of pumped through. You mentioned paying the restaurants. Are they producing it on site there and then it's getting moved somewhere else? Talk about the mechanics of it a little bit.
Yeah, so most of our meals are prepared through restaurants.
Yep.
Almost all of them. We do some out of our commissary kitchen and with our food trucks and our cafe. But no, mainly, man, like restaurants have excess capacity. What we figured out is it's just not excess food. Restaurants have excess capacity. You pay rent for the whole time you're there. And there's like, you know, there's a huge amount of downtime, you know, where there's just nobody in the kitchen. You know, usually in the mornings or even overnight, like we were like, oh, let's build cloud kitchens and, you know, put them in some space. But really, you should just build a cloud kitchen in your own kitchen because it's already there. It's already set up. It's already available. So basically, it's just utilizing that excess space, and we kind of cover the cost of the cooks, some of the ingredients, and then in the morning, or even during your cleaning crew, or you know, however you structure your business, like everybody's different. But like some of us are, you know, now that restaurants are starting to reopen a little bit in New York, doing takeout and delivery, and soon June half occupancy.
Yep.
You know, it's like they have space and they have time. Right now they have a lot of space and a lot of time. They're going to have less and then they're going to have less, but it's like, just let Rethink hire a cook for you that starts at 6 p.m. and his job is to clean your walk-in, take everything that's out, put it in a container, collect all the other stuff from the cooks that they have, like as they're starting to break down their stations, put it in a container, and then like make something, whether it's like a vinaigrette using the old sorrel puree or like whatever. And, you know, keep some baseline products ordered that you probably already have in your dry storage. Like if you need to cook off some pasta or whatever, and we'll help cover that cost too. And then you have this perpetual revenue stream where you're making $4,000 a week every week. You get $4,000 to $5,000 a week, and all you have to do is make 16 hotel pans of food 5 days a week, and like, and then when this happens again, which it most likely will happen again, when we work a lot with the city governments, we just say like, look, you want to keep these people employed, you want to make this food delicious, you want these restaurants to stay open, like just say, okay, now you guys are making 200 meals, now you all make 1,000 meals, and instead of getting $5,000 a week, you're going to get $25,000 a week, and it's just going to keep it going. So we need a system like this in the food network. It's insurance, more or less it's insurance, so that when things go bad, and you're kind of losing a little bit when you're doing it because it's a little bit of a push, it's hard, but what you're getting in return is some safety. And the other part that we're adding to it is a certification similar to like LEED certification. So the restaurants like 11 Madison Park is going to be Rethink certified. It's going to be like a little badge on the icon, on the logo. A bunch of restaurants in the Bronx and Bushwick are all going to be Rethink certified. And then like, that's how as a consumer that you're going to go eat at a restaurant that's doing something good for the community.
Yes. Talk about the restaurants themselves. You mentioned that the response. Was there trepidation because it's different style, it's different numbers, it's different ingredients than they're necessarily used to? Were they like, fuck yeah, let's go, we're all in, tell us what we need to do and just let us cook because that's what we're meant to do? My guess is the latter, but give us an idea of the interaction with the restaurants themselves.
Well, there was a really hard couple of weeks, man. Like really March, people were terrified. Yeah. And so, but the need for food was so high. And there was all these people that could cook, but like not a lot of people want to do it. It was really Daniel Hume being like super brave who set the tone. Like he was like, I'm going to fucking do this. Like he's like, let's go, let's build it. Like he was just so jazzed up about like doing it that he really set the standard in the industry. Now, after he did it, everybody's like, yeah, of course I'll do it. I'm in. But man, it's doing what cooks do. And like what one of my favorite jobs as a cook was making family meal. It's like the most fun part of the day. You get to be a little creative. You get to make use some stuff that's left over. Family meal is like one of the best parts of working at a restaurant. Yeah. Super tasty, really good. It's there every day. It's hot at the time, and like, yeah. So I mean, I guess if you explain it like all you have to do is make 3 times family meal, people are like, okay, yeah, sure.
Yes, I like that. See, that is such a connective tissue that you have that I see some other nonprofits struggle with. They don't understand the medium and the humans within that structure of a restaurant. You knew exactly how to talk to them. You do 3 times family meal, they go, oh, I'm all about that family meal game. Yeah. Versus somebody else
saying $5,000,
dude. I think it's so smart because when's the last time somebody got paid for family meal, right? And so I think you're reimagining it because you've been within it and you've seen it, and then you also have the relationships. So somebody like Daniel Hume jumping on board obviously has massive brand name and appeal that greases the wheels. Was that important for him? Was that an unlock for you to be able to like use that power for good?
Yeah, man. I mean, I gotta say, this is like the best part about it. And like Daniel is like, he has a really good spirit about him. But like, it's been so cool because like everybody like changed, like everybody changed so drastically. Now everybody's like, just like, they're so into it and they like love it. They're like, and they're like, this is the best. I'm never going back to cooking for the 1%. Like, and like, it's just this like crazy vibe that has like taken over, and like it's been really special to like watch and be a part of. Like I just feel really grateful that I was in a position to do something. It really was like Kathleen, Sam Katz, Winston, Maddie, Nick, our kitchen manager, Elijah. Like those are the people that did it. I was just in a position where we had the relationships with the restaurants and we had the relationships with the community centers and we had some money. So like, those are the first 3 hardest steps if you would want to do something like that. And we had it ready to go. So like, when it all hit, I ran over to my buddy's restaurant that we've been collecting food from. And I was like, hey, like, how many meals can I buy? Or can you make meals at around $4 to $6 um, you know, and I'll give you $20,000 right now and just make as many as you can until the $20,000 is out. And they were like, okay. And then my friend works at the New York Post. So I like called him and I was like, dude, write about this. So that's like how it went. And then we got the word out and then it was a go time.
God, it's all about relationships and communication again and again. Like that's what's playing out. And the thesis of this show is to value and focus on why and who before what and how, because we get caught up in the minutia of what we do and how we do it and thinking that that's what defines us as chefs or as a restaurant community. And it fucking kills us. Like the sustainability on the business model, on the human capital is so low that this is so important. Like it really is compelling, and it's all communication. We use food to communicate, yet it's still communication. So I think that's super important. You mentioned some of your team. Talk about your team. We're all about the team. You mentioned some of their names. What's the work that they're doing, and how important is it for you as a leader to have a team that can actually be dynamic, where you just need to hold space and let them do what they do?
Oh, it's like, like I think that something that I didn't take away from kitchens is how to manage a kitchen. Like I don't, I've had a lot of micromanaging chefs, a lot of like insecure chefs that were like worried about, is this guy gonna take my job or whatever but that's the kitchen attitude. It's always like, I'm gonna take this guy's job, like and I never felt that way. I was always pretty straight up. Like, I'm here to learn. I'm, like, thank you. And I'm going to push as hard as I can. But like, I try to be as transparent as possible. But, I like Sam Katz in particular. I've talked about her. She's like this ridiculously amazing individual who will like organize entire contracts, put them together, get them funded and get them pushed out. And like, I just have to say yes or no. And the answer is like always yes.
Yes.
And Kathleen DePerna, who like I'm not a big school guy, long complicated contracts, not like she's so thorough and thoughtful in everything that she does. It's like it's crazy. It's like, and so I really trust her to understand things and then kind of explain it to me like I'm a 10-year-old. I'm like, what the hell does this say? Like, I have no idea what this says, so she really takes the time to like truly understand something and then, kind of explain it to the group. And Elijah, who is nothing short of a hero. He drives the trucks and like he manages all the trucks drivers. And I'm like talking to like, man, like protests, COVID outbreaks, like riots, like food got there on time every time. And he had to lead his team through hell to get that done. And like, and like I always say to the team, like Nathan Ricky is a restaurateur too. And he works constantly. And like, I always say, I'm just like, I'm happy to be here. Like, I feel really grateful. I try to just make sure that I'm happy and optimistic and like there to help. And the company is capitalized, has money in the bank. But, I don't really feel like I have to keep the vision and the goal.
Yes.
But, they're going to find their own ways. And like, what I found the key to be is like, just they're not here because they want to make a bunch of money or like get some part-time job. So if I just let them rock, like
just get out of the way.
Dude, totally. Yeah. 100%. Like get out of the way. Yeah. So I try to just stay out of the way.
I like it. I think that's an important thing. And you mentioned the insecurities. I think that's pure confidence, is to say, look, I'm going to hold this space. I'm going to create the why and that North Star to keep us like aspiring to that North Star and focused on that. And then everyone do what you do. That's like what you're supposed to do. And even the rest of your team, like the communication system that you have was clear, because I'm like looking at the thread right now. I got Meg Savage. We got Carolina. And then you have Tori McKnight, who's on the PR side. So I'm like, smart. Again, you're investing in things that create upside potential in a real way versus being like, oh, I had my cousin do our logo for free and we wonder why our brand can't develop. You guys are investing in things that create scale And
Yeah.
I think it's a really smart way that you're going about things.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Like I am all at the recommendation of my staff. So thank Meg Savage for that one.
That's it. That's all we need. I appreciate that we got to meet some more of your team. I hope they get to watch this and say, thank you, Matt. And now get out of the way, because that's the thing to do. So Matt Jozwiak, I appreciate the time, appreciate the work that you're doing. Let's continue to communicate as we can find other ways to support as you launch in San Francisco, and we can get some of your chefs on the show. That's what we're here to do. Share those human stories, my friend. So appreciate you. Have a great day.
All right. Thank you, man. Thank you.
All right. Well, we had the wheel of death there for a minute, but we got in the message. We got it across. I like it. There's two things that just really stick out to me, and then we'll get Sophie in here to tell us what stuck out to her. But it's understanding who you serve and who's in the trenches. Just that little thing that he said about 3 times family meal is the unlock. It seems like the simplest thing, just to say, yeah, you're doing family meal 3 times. Yet for a cook, for a chef, for an operator, they get it right away. There's no friction to understanding the expectation and the communication. That is key. The investment in the communication infrastructure. Not a lot of nonprofits have a PR firm. It can seem like a frivolous expense, being like, well, we're trying to have this mission. We want so much the money to go towards our mission. I completely get that. Transparency about your numbers, super important. Also, investing in things that allow you growth and scale and sustainability. If your goal is to create sustainability, I think is a very important thing. So those are the 2 things that really stuck out to me. Sophie, for you, what do you got?
Hi. I think my favorite part was definitely him throwing out to people at the end. That's not the word. Shout outs to people at the end. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like sometimes we have people on here and we're really big about shout outs, right? But sometimes they're like, yes, our whole team, but then they don't mention people like specifically. And he like talked specifically about each and every person and what they did and why they were important. And that really shows that, he knows who's in his team and what they're doing and how they're contributing. And he knows what his role is and what everybody's roles are. And I mean, they're doing an amazing job anyway with feeding so many people that it's just really gratifying to see that he also doesn't take his team for granted.
Yeah, 1 million meals, humans can get lost in that, because when you get numbers that big, the individual can get lost because the scale is so massive. So I completely agree. It's very interesting. And being a part of this, I'm always pulling at people, tell me their name. I want to know their name. Right. If you're concerned about their privacy, completely understand that. We're just not used to acknowledging other people and saying this person is amazing because of this. We generalize, and I think the unlock is absolutely in naming those people individually. You just imagine them showing this video to the team, right? And like Elijah, he's going to be fucking pumped. He's going to be like, you're damn right. I made sure all that food showed up on time. Like that matters. I really feel like that matters. So we're going to keep poking and pulling at people to get all of those little bits from them. So awesome. And for anybody who's wondering, Sophie Breaker, I'm going to keep announcing you, content manager, behind the scenes, making sure that everything goes smoothly. I love when he said that he wants, his team to explain things to him like he's a 10-year-old. Very much. That's what Sophie's job is too. Jensen, here is this simple thing that I have to explain to you like you're a 10-year-old, and I love it. I'm all about it. So thank you to Sophie. You're going to see a lot more of her, all the live commenting that you see, all of the fun stuff across the ticker, all the technology and the method of storytelling is all Sophie. She's on the team. Corey Nelson is on the team as well. He's working on production side. So any nice video clips that you see, any of our videos on YouTube, the content side is really, he's focused on that. So I'm excited to have a team of awesome humans so I can just get out of the way and talk into my microphone to you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you all. Cheers.